Here this morning. The windshield wiper's doing this. But we got about halfway, a little more than about halfway, I guess. And Janice says, "Oh, look, there's an eagle." Well, I missed it, of course, because I was driving. So I had to turn around and come back, and there we saw the eagle. And then took some pictures, turned around and came back and saw another eagle. Just one of those things in our journey that just pops out at you, unnoticed, unexpected, and a little bit of joy. Time to remember that God is at hand and present in our lives. And that's what the sermon is all about this morning. I just want to talk about a journey. Your journey, my journey, all of our journeys, the journey of the people of faith. In the Old Testament, Moses has been on a journey of faith all of this time. And we can trace it from his birth and all of that. You know the story of Moses and the troubles he went through and being chased out of Egypt and all of that, coming back and God calling him to lead his people. And then he tries to lead the people and all the problems that they've had with that and all of the successes that he has had leading these people. We could make some jokes about Jews, but they were people of faith. And so, but not easy to lead, as Moses found out. But now, after 40 years, so the story says, he is almost to the end, and he's up on top of the mountain, and he's able to look and see the potential, the problem, the promise that God has made. And then God says, "But you're not going." Wonder why he didn't get to finish his journey. Was that important? Was it important that he started, but was it important for him to get to be able to grab the gold ring or to ring the bell to say, "I'm finished, I've done it, I get my reward"? All of the troubles that he'd gone through, the good and the bad and the indifferent. But that was just the journey of faith. He didn't get to finish. What about your journeys? As you look back over your journeys, can you pull out the times when you saw the eagle? Can you pull out the times when you were happy? Can you pull out the times when you were dejected, rejected, hurting, painful? And on the way up here, just all of a sudden it came to me, I was thinking about one of the parishioners I had in another church who had come out of the Vietnam War. And he had sometimes would talk a little bit about it. And he was talking about his friends who had PSDT. And for the most part, he said, although I'm retired military, I've never had any, I was never in any action, any battles, or anything like that. But he said that the people who had survived and had PTSD, many times they were that way because they had survived and their friends had died. And some of them were carrying that guilt around with them, wondering why they had survived and the others had died. They were on this journey together. And it's the same kind of journey that we are all going on and that you are going on. But the people of faith who were on this journey with Moses were able to go into the land of promise. And as you know, that was, they were joyful, I guess, for the first few days, but the joy didn't last forever. It's a tumultuous existence for the Jews in Israel. It still is. But isn't that a metaphor of your life also? Ups and downs, joy and saying, beauty and destruction. It's the same as the psalm. In fact, if you read the psalm again, that's what my journey is about. That's what your journey is about. That's what this sermon is all about. So you don't have to remember the sermon at all. Just read the Psalms and you'll get it. On our journey of faith, when Paul is talking to the Thessalonians in our second lesson today, he reminded them that there was something different now about the gospel of Jesus. He reminded them about the problems they had, ups and the downs. He reminded them of the problems he had, the successes and the failures. But he also reminded them that Jesus gave them something different for the people of faith. And Jesus has given you something different for the people of faith. Now he said, and the promise is that God will be with you always. And that's true for people of faith. And it's hard sometimes. I'm sure it was hard for Moses at times. At times he got so upset with the people he was leading that he just left and went up on the mountain to get away from them. Talk to God, the same as you going away and sitting down in a quiet place and praying and coming back and getting on with the journey. That's what we do as people of faith, to come down from the mountain and get on with the journey. And this thing about Moses not being able to complete his journey into the land of promise. Did you ever wonder who wrote the story? Did you ever wonder if there was a reporter there taking notes when Jesus and God were talking, when Moses and God were talking? How do we know that these are the very words that happened? Of course, we don't know. But I suspect that the story was passed on and on and on and on, and it grew through the people of faith, that it became a reality of faith. That this is what happens to someone who is faithful, who stays faithful. That finishing the journey is not what's important. Ringing the bell is not what's important. What's important is coming down from the mountains and up from the valleys, coming down from the beauty and coming up from the destruction, and being able at times to marvel at the eagle in a tree, being able to marvel at the smile from your loved one, being able to touch someone that you care about, being able to help. The thing that Jesus added to all of the commandments. And you know who the scribes and Pharisees were. They were the religious leaders. They were the priests and deacons. And they were the politicians. They were all balled together. You had to be one of them. That's who they were. So don't listen to us preachers or politicians or leaders. Listen to what happens in your journey. And as a person of faith, and as a member of this congregation, you see God's action with us always. Sometimes we have to remind each other that God is with us. And that reminder usually is the touch of a hand, the smile, the hello. It's never condemnation. It's never a way of straightening people out, because you've made mistakes also, and we've all made them. But it is touching people with the hand of God, because God is with you. So what I've tried to describe is the metaphor of a journey, and they're all the same. And you are on a journey of faith, and the Lord God has promised to be with you.